Welcome to Unpacking Within. I'm your host, Cam, and I am here with a very dear friend of mine, Alix. Alix is originally from Florida. I'll let him get into the details, but I feel like I owe y'all some explanations. I have been off the map since July of last year, not physically, but more so like here with you in this space. And so much has happened, and I am excited to one kind of unpack that and give you all a look into what my so-called private life is like, if you will. I'm such a private person, so sometimes it feels abnormal to have to share a lot. But yeah, are you a private person, Alex?
No, I'm an open book.
Which is what I love. Like, I really appreciate how Alex can get me to kind of open up out of my shell, and I think it's been that way since I met him 5 years ago. Actually, almost 5 years. I think it'll
Yeah.
be 5 years this year. So, where have I been? I have been living and laughing and fucking and so many other
And traveling.
things and traveling. No, in all seriousness, the last episode that I posted and shared with you all was a episode with Rome, and we talked about his family and his daughter, and I feel so blessed to be able to share that with the world. Rome, thank you for just your greatness, and thank you for your boldness and sharing your talents and sharing your story with us. But since July of last year, I feel like so much has happened. Like I celebrated my husband's birthday. Can we talk about that? I celebrated my husband's birthday. I celebrated my birthday. We had Christmas. We had New Year's. We had
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
you came
Like,
to my birthday?
I know. Yeah, that's
That
right.
was so random.
That was so random, but it was also like so appreciated. I forgot all about that. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I had no clue. My partner put that together,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister,
Uh
which
huh.
I can't believe they kept that secret. Everybody kept it a secret, which was shocking.
Yeah.
But it was really, really shocking. I had no clue because you called me when I was sitting in my hotel room and I didn't know where everybody was. You was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just sitting in the hotel drinking." You was like, "Oh, I'm at the gym. I'm about to go work out. Then I'm gonna eat, and then I'll call you
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It
later."
was one of those moments. I think I was at like a pizza shop actually when I called him, and I called him, and I don't think many people knew that I was coming or even in the city. And it's crazy because we both share our locations with each other. And when I called him, I'm like, I hope he doesn't look at my location, which I don't think you did that night, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know about y'all, but we keep tabs in this friendship family of ours, okay? Like my husband, him, my sisters, like my other sisters, my sister-in-laws, like it's a very safe thing that I feel like we all should probably get into the habit of doing. Like knowing that your people are safe is so good, especially with everything that's been happening. But yes, let's fast forward, but also kind of like slow it down, rewind, flip it in reverse, as Missy Elliott says. We have been just living life. And I feel so excited that I truly have kind of stepped back and allow life to just happen the way that it has been. I'm such a person where I try to be not just strategic, but also like I try to be present in the moment. And
Mm.
sometimes that can cause me to not share my life with certain people or really just the world, which I think when I think about the podcast, I think about like sharing it not just with my friends and with my family, but also with other people. I will say what's new in my life. So with within July of last year of 2024 and between now, I've been engaged. I have also eloped. I also left my job as of last week. Like so much shit is happening. I again just feel like everything happens for a reason, if you will, and I think that the more that I've enjoyed being present and being here with my partner, as well as with my friends, whether it be on trips or whatnot, has been so liberating for my personal life, as well as things that I have kind of going on behind the scenes. So, yeah, I will also kind of just open it up. We talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but we met back in 2019 or 2020,
20,
right? Okay.
20. Divorce year.
Yes, 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 yes. It was actually on my mom's birthday, and we met at a Martin Luther King Um, it was like a march,
Yeah, it was
actually.
like
It was happening on Juneteenth.
during the pandemic.
Yep, during the pandemic, and we were all masked up. And how do you remember that situation
um,
pedaling out?
I remember our friend Michael was at the time I didn't know where we were going. He was like, "Oh, let's just go to this black event. Everybody's there." I was like, "Okay." He was like, "Just bring a mask." And so when I got there, we walked, and then everybody went to that little park area,
Mhm.
and he knew everybody. I was the only person that didn't know anyone. So I think that's where I met you, Leviticus, Michael, like
Yep,
Mikey,
Mikey. Yeah.
and Eugene and his wife.
Okay. Oh, you met them that day too.
Yeah, I met
Oh
all like
wow.
that
Okay.
whole
Okay.
tribe that
Okay.
whole day, and the only person I knew was Michael. So I kind of stayed close to him because that's just me, and I spoke to everybody. Um, and then I remember we were leaving, and I was just like, okay, everybody's quiet. I'm about to just, it was fun. I met them. I remember, I tell Mikey this all the time. I remember telling him something was on the back of his pants,
Mhm.
and he like turned around. He's like, I know. And I was like, oh,
Mikey or Michael?
Mikey.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I
Okay.
didn't know him,
Yeah.
but I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I don't know if you know, but something's on the back of your pants because we were walking away, and I was like, this man, I don't know if you know because it's on the back part, but I remember he turned around, he's like, I know, and I was like, oh, okay, Miss Mama's.
Okay, girl.
Okay,
Try to help you out.
I'm sorry, I looked at Mikey, Michael, I was like, I'm ready to go, and then we all went back to. Uh, I think we went to Levi's house.
Levi's place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when
This one he was living on Cap Hill, I
yeah,
believe.
down the street from me.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
at the time, not down the street, but yeah, Capitol Hill in that beautiful loft like type
Yeah.
of thing, whatever. And yeah, we just all kicked it there, which was so random. I was like, I don't know none of these people.
Hmm.
I don't even know this man who
Mhm.
house I am right now. And I'm just like, okay, Michael, I'm going with the flow.
Right. I was just gonna say 1 second. I feel like the thing about the gay life is you can start somewhere. You can start at a MLK Juneteenth march and end up in some random man's house on the north side of town, drinking cocktails and sharing about your life. Like, what more beautiful is that? Like sharing different stories and sharing just you, sharing a little bit of you. So sorry to interrupt,
Oh
but
no, I remember because we all ordered food. It was very
I do remember
unique.
that. Yeah.
And then I think,
Wait, no, I think
ironically,
I left.
I
I
think
think I
you
think I
left.
left. I don't remember that moment. Y'all
Okay,
ordered food and stuff.
but I think you somehow you must have knew because we all talked about my divorce at one point, so you had to be there for a snippet of it.
Okay.
Because there was like, oh, what are you doing? Everybody was asking me what they were doing. I was like, well, I'm moving out. And it was like, do you need help?
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah.
Right. Right.
And so I think everybody came that day, whether they came later or at the house to help me move. That was very unique. Like I was like, okay, this is a group.
Yeah.
It was our what we call it, our pandemic group because
Mhm.
we left outside the circle. But we'll talk about that later.
I think we named the group chat. I remember having like a cat thing like in text message in the iMessage group chat, but I can't remember what we end up calling it. For those that do not know, do you mind sharing? You mentioned your
Oh yeah,
divorce. You were married for
I was
I think
married.
7 years.
No, we were together for almost 6 years.
Okay.
We were married from February 15, 2019 to April. Well,
Okay.
to September 2029, but we separated April. The divorce was final September 29th.
Okay.
And that's funny because that's my mom and dad's wedding date.
Oh wow. And it's so crazy that I feel like with me eloping also in Vegas, I feel like that there's certain things that I enjoy learning about marriage as well as supporting the person that you're with. And I feel like Alex has always been a person that's given me great advice for my life, especially maneuvering through the space that we're in. I am appreciative that I feel like we met during the time because I enjoy one for some reason I enjoy not necessarily helping people move, but I feel like there's a psychological thing that happens when you do move.
It is.
I feel like it's like you're starting over as well as like beginning something fresh and new,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I got a different version of you. And if you don't mind me sharing,
Yeah.
I remember I think at your old townhouse, and I think you're about to rip up your
Oh.
certificate. He was about to rip up his marriage certificate. and it was a house full of us gays, us gay black. I think there were other people because I think there were like Hispanic people, okay,
Uh,
gay people,
no, it was all
and
black.
yes, and I think we were drinking. I think we had like brunch and some
Oh, it was a
different
brunch.
food. Yeah, it was just everything happening, and I think you had announced that you were about to rip it up, and then I looked, and I think I kind of pulled you to the side, and I'm like, not right now, not right here, if you don't mind.
Uh-huh. And then I think Levi at the time was like, "You don't want to do that." And in my head, I was like, "These motherfuckers don't know what I went through. I'm finna rip this shit up," but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Were you going like were you now that you know yourself and now like you can look back in reflection on that, like do you feel like you were reacting in the moment or do you feel like um well, I'll ask you what exactly was happening for you around
It was a me. It's more like closing the chapter.
there? Mm,
So the paper didn't. I mean, it meant something when it was meaningful, but at that point, I'm like, why am I holding on to this? Because I think eventually I just left it at the house.
yeah.
So I think either they took it or our landlord discarded it or whatever because she knew what was going on.
Mhm.
But to me, it wasn't in front of you all. I would have did it by myself. Had a glass of champagne, threw it in on my rooftop at my
Mm.
next place in the fire pit.
I feel like at that moment it was so fresh. It was so fresh for me because I
Right.
think we had just met like a few days before, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know what this feels like, but something is telling me to say not just yet." And I mean, it wasn't my place to really speak, but I'm glad that I even said that moment because I think that actually started off our relationship.
Oh yeah, it did.
And I feel like it's probably not why we're here today, but I think you probably saw a side of me that is very caring and compassionate
Mm-hmm.
and loving. And I think you had also shared that your person was like a Scorpio.
Yes,
And I'm such a Scorpio through and through. Okay.
he
But
was.
when I think about our friendship, I think about it starting then, but also like where we are now. And I think about like, what have we done to really manage this? So, give you also just a little bit of background. We were both living in Seattle. We were both transplants. Alex still lives in Seattle right now.
Yeah.
However, there's been years, there's been breakups, there's been different people in and out of our lives
Yes.
that we've experienced both together. And from your perspective, what do you think has kept our relationship alive?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's just being intentional,
Mm,
and letting each other go through what they go through and handle it in a manner, but just giving honest feedback, but not overstepping.
yeah,
And I feel like since day one, whenever you was like, I don't think you should do that right now, I could have easily be like, whatever.
right,
But I was like, okay, this might make the room go a different way, so let me hold off.
right.
But I think most of it is just the genuine connection. Like I love Scorpios in relationships and in friendships because
We are unmatched, okay? There's no other side. If you got a Scorpio in your life, hold on to
we'll talk about that later. But
you hold it on. You hold it
I
on.
mean, if y'all don't know about Scorpios always have a plan. So you need to be a step ahead. Okay? You think like the relationship ended. No, the relationship have been ended. They just need to get their shit in line so they can I don't know because they need to get their stuff in line
Yeah, you
so
can.
then they can maneuver easily. The transition is easier for them. Versus a Virgo, we'll be like, okay, we'll give you a chance, we'll give you a chance. And then we'll be like, look, you have this amount of time to get your and then we were gone. But not y'all. Y'all more like, I'm gonna get myself together.
I think there's two or there's different versions of Scorpios. I do think that there are more evolved Scorpios and there are Scorpios that still act in a um reactionary state. I don't even know if that's a word, but I feel like Scorpios are very good at stinging back. Okay? They're good at singing back, and I feel like, yes, to your point, they are very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like evolved Scorpios are able to communicate their feelings, their plans, and they're able to kind of give you their cards, especially if a Scorpio, I think, respects you in that manner.
Yeah,
Some Scorpios, I wouldn't say are not evolved, but really some Scorpios are naturally secretive. I would just say that.
I would agree.
And I feel like if a Scorpio is letting you in on any kind of plans that may come across like perception could be like, oh, you're trying to stay me back or oh, you're trying to get me back. I feel like if a Scorpio has been like, hey, I'm thinking about this or I want to do this, I feel like that is somewhat of a way of trying to give you a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may not always, you know, receive it in certain ways, depending on I feel like how the Scorpio delivers it. But no, I think there's somewhere like I agree, but also disagree. I feel like
I mean, sometimes if you look at most Virgos, I think I'm so close to being leaning towards a Libra, and I have Libra in my chart and
I
a little
love
bit of
Libras.
Capricorn.
I love
I
Libras.
feel like most Virgos are very secretive
Yeah.
and not as open as I am. I think because look at
Really?
Mikey and look at Connor,
Okay.
like they're very reserved. Look at Beyonce; she don't let you in her personal life.
True.
That's not the standard. But I'm kind of like Kiki Palmer. You know, like she's okay. Whatever you want to ask me, I'm one of those type of Virgos. Like,
Mm.
it's my truth. What you gonna do about it? You know,
Mhm.
type of thing.
I love that because I am such a person. Really, a lot of this podcast is people living in their truth
Mm.
and being unapologetically them and authentically them. I feel
Yeah.
like there's so much space and joy and happiness that comes. There's a professor that I want to say professor. He actually may want me to call him doctor, but there's a doctor at Stanford that teaches that has a whole class. You know, we have like classes on like finances and
Yeah, yeah.
economy and statistics. His whole class is teaching about the art of happiness and how happiness is not just a want, but it's a need in our lives, as well as like other negative emotions. But
Mm.
can you imagine an entire semester or an entire quarter like taking a class on happiness and like the scientific proven methods to bring happiness and other things in your life? Like, I feel like I would actually enjoy that.
I was about to say it's like free therapy.
Yeah.
To be
Oh,
honest,
yeah, yeah.
it's other ways that you never probably thought of what happiness, and it probably help you find out what is happiness to you,
Yeah.
not for what you think happiness is.
I was just going to ask you,
Uh,
what is your definition of happiness?
oh, that's my therapist asked me. My therapist asked me that. Right now in this stage of my life, happiness means stability, and also less chaos. So just being in the moment, like you said, living in the moment. I feel like the way my life is set up, I'm always like focused on work because I want to grow. I think I'm at that path where I'm like I'm there so I can be more in the moment and be more intentional. So happiness to me is just being able to live in the moment, I should say.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like, as I shared earlier this week, or earlier in this conversation, sorry, last week, I was given the notification that my role was eliminated. A lot of you know that I was in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion as a program manager, and I had been at the company for quite some time. And I feel like this is definitely the time that um, I'm choosing to like reflect and really just take some time to really understand like what I want to do.
Yeah.
I've been working since about 19 years old, and here I am 10 years later. It would have been 10 years. I would have celebrated my anniversary with the company 10 years, and I feel like this is the perfect time to
You were there
really,
10 years?
yeah, it would have been 10 years this year.
Oh wow.
That's crazy, right?
That is
I'm
crazy.
like, that's the longest relationship that
That's
I've
too
ever been
long.
in.
But that is good because that you should have been left.
Yeah,
If you would have talked to me, I was like 2.5
it's
years
time to
max.
go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Are you one of those
Oh
like hop
yes.
around? Okay. So you hop around, you get what you need.
That's I kind of treat myself as a consultant. I'm only here
Okay.
for a short time. Don't get comfortable unless the
Gotcha.
benefits is astonishing. I try to hold on, but
I
yeah.
like when I did, and I won't talk about like things that I can't talk about legally, but I will say I feel like a part of me was there because I was so emotionally connected. I feel like I was at a company that supported me through my mom's death,
Mm.
my aunt's death, who was basically like my guardian from growing up. I also feel like they supported me through my dad's death. And they
Oh,
were one of
that's a
the
tragedy.
first, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it really makes it like, oh, it kind of feels like a family, but it's still work.
it's still business.
But it's almost as if you create family inside of that space
Mm-hmm.
and they're forever your family. Like I still have people that I started off with working, but we've grown into family, if you will. I say that to say you mentioned like what's bringing you happiness now, and living in the present is so like undervalued, and I feel like we're all chasing things,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be a new job or a new position or more money or the next I don't know, best looking thing, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I feel like living in the present is so again undervalued, but it's also a way that I feel like we're robbed of joy. I feel like when we learn to truly live in the present and we live in the moment that God has created for you to experience this in this moment, you'll never ever get this moment again. Like, I feel like happiness shows up then.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Because then you like sometimes we there and say, "Oh, I was there," but then someone would be like, "You remember we talked about such?" And you'd be like, "I don't, I
You
don't
weren't
remember that."
present.
Right, I
You
wasn't
weren't present.
present. So now when people like, "Did we do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, we did." Blah blah blah, and I can be the one that says, "Yeah, we did this." Most of the time, I'm the one like, I must have been in my phone working or distracted by social media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I understand that. Um, I feel like we've talked about our relationship. Tell us a little bit about you. So they know that you're from Miami.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay, I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
305.
954. And I had to tell people from Miami because most people are like, what's Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
Like, depending on who and well traveled you are. So I would just say South Florida because
Okay.
apparently, but I did like my family lived in. I was born in Broward, but we lived in Hollywood, Hollandale, West Palm Beach, Pembroke Pines, and then Miami. So I lived in all those areas, and then from it was like I can't remember it's middle school, elementary, but I moved to Georgia because my parents had a disagreement, but they stayed together. It was just like separated. So it was almost like that scene from. I'm sorry, I laugh about this every time I think about it. So you're what love got to do with it? The
Yeah.
Tina Turner
It's my
story.
favorite movie.
Okay, so
That's
you
my
know this scene where she
favorite movie.
left in the middle of the night to go to her mom's house,
Yes.
and they took the bus.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, was it because
My mama went to her mama's house, and we took the bus.
oh, so y'all physically took the bus
Yes. So
from
every time
Florida
I
to
see that scene,
Atlanta?
I'd be like, "Mom, this where you got this from?"
Oh wow. Look,
You
mama did
know.
mama did what she
But
had
my
to
dad
do.
was kind of like Ike Turner. You know,
Okay.
she
Okay.
had to leave whenever it was time. I remember taking the book bag with it, everything, leaving everything as a child that grew up very spoiled, and
Yeah.
my dad was like very giving, so I never experienced like just leaving with a book bag and what I had, and then going and I still don't remember much. My sister remembered. She had to tell us like, we had to go get clothes from here and da da da. But it was very like a transition in my life where I had to wake up like, okay,
That was a traumatic
yeah.
experience. Yeah.
To me, after a while, because I was in a new area where people didn't know me, so everything was judgmental. Where I came from a place where most of my family knew I was going to be gay on my
Yeah.
dad's side, and they were very welcoming side. So my mom's family is very image driven, so they're more like,
Mm, no.
you need to change that or you need to hide that. And my dad's side of the family, they just let me do who the fuck I want to be. So,
Mm. What's your fondest memory of your dad?
uh, honestly, I think this is where I get it from. My dad was very affectionate.
Mm.
No matter what I was doing as a child, he was very affectionate. So
Brought to you by a commercial on YouTube.
right. My dad was very affectionate. I think one of my fondest moments is when my first time ever staying away from home for like months. I went on a school trip and we went to Orlando to perform. I was in band,
Hmm.
and then my uncles came and got me, and I spent the summer away from my father. And when he saw me, he was just like, "You need anything?" That's his way of saying, "I love you and I miss you." And I already knew what he meant. And my mom was like, "You should give him a hug." I was like, I'm the child. He should give me a hug, and
Right.
he gave me a hug. And he
Ah,
said he had missed me. And if
your
you know
dad
my
said
dad, he
that.
was very much a man's man in front of people. Now
Hmm.
behind closed door, he was very soft. But
Hmm. Hmm.
but I think that's my most fond moment of him.
I always see a picture of your dad, and it's almost as if it's like a copy and paste of you, especially your eyes. But I think in with the picture of your dad, he's laughing in the moment. It seems as if he's
Mm-hmm.
laughing,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminds me of you and how much you really enjoy laughing and how you really enjoy a good time.
Yes.
So I feel like you are definitely him, probably in so many other ways that you probably don't even know about, but I'm sure your mom probably sees.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, look, thank you to your daddy.
Right. Thank you to my dad.
Thank
And
you
it's
to
so
my dad.
funny because my partner for my birthday this year took a picture of that same picture you're speaking of,
Hmm.
and a picture of me and my mom, and had it like a mural made.
Oh,
So it's hanging up
it's
in my.
like AI kind of thing.
No, this man hand stroked it.
Oh
So
wow.
like the pictures back in the day where people actually just illustrated them out and then they
Yeah.
painted in. It was like a watermark almost type of situation, but
Hmm.
it's of my father, it's of me, and that's like my favorite picture of my father. And I don't have a lot of them together with him. My sister may, but I don't. And It was a gift. It was the best gift I got for my birthday,
Mm,
and I was like, I didn't need my birthday party. You could have just gave me this,
that's so sweet.
you know.
That's so sweet. I love how partners can show up for us intentionally
hmm
and how unspoken languages can be so spoken through actions, whether it be actions around a birthday or whether it be actions around thinking about, hey, I saw that you needed this, so I just got it for you. Like that is
Yeah,
such a what do you it's like a
that's my love language.
it's like a love language
hmm
almost, like consideration. I always tell people I feel like
Attention
for
to
me,
detail.
yes, attention to detail. I also feel like for me, consideration is my number one.
Mm,
It's not a love language, I don't think
no.
officially, but it's like something that I truly feel loved and I feel supported and I also just feel so warm. Like when I feel or when I see that
It's almost like words of affirmation, but through
physical
thoughts.
and like
Yeah,
yeah, through thoughts
yeah,
and execution
yeah.
too.
Um,
Um
what is your love language though? Like your top one
I
out of the
love
normals?
quality time.
Okay, I could. Well, I dedefinitely see that with you because
Yeah.
sometimes you'd be like, "We're in our phones. Let's get out of our phones."
All the time. All
I'd
the
be like,
time.
"Okay."
Because again, living in the moment, and I feel like, again, I feel like we have conditioned ourselves to wake up and you pick up the phone and you go scrolling and you
hmm
start, whether you be working or whatever. But yes, there's healthy ways that I think we can digest certain things, but I am definitely a quality time kind of person. My husband knows that. Yeah, I will also say like I got engaged the day before my birthday. We were in Jamaica. Do
And I
not
knew
recommend
about it.
Jamaica. Dude, look, do not recommend Jamaica for a gay engagement whatsoever. Um,
I
I
was
thought
nervous.
I thought that I thought that I would like Jamaica because I had gone once before, but it was like on a cruise ship, so we didn't really get into the culture of things, and we also didn't stay on a resort. Like we got off, we stayed all day, and then we got right back on the boat. But I had the fondest memories just from a food and from a perspective that I had met only a few people.
hmm
But I think that if I could rate Jamaica on a scale of 1 to 10, just from my experience on that resort specifically, and I don't even remember the resort, it will probably be a 4 out of 10. And so I feel like you also were like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure I want to go to Jamaica for my birthday because it was just a birthday trip."
Yeah, yeah.
And my other friends were like, "You sure you want to go to Jamaica? Like, have you heard?" And I'm like, "Yes, like I will be okay."
And my closest sister had her birthday there, and you know which one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm close to all my sisters, but the closest one, Latrika. And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Why?" I was like, "They don't like gays."
They don't at
And I
all.
was like, I'm not going to be anywhere uncomfortable. Even though we're not going to be. I was single at the time, so I wasn't going to be out there with anybody. It's just the fact of what if I did find somebody, or what if I did bring somebody.
Yeah.
And when he told me he was proposing, I was like, like I
Mm-hmm.
was hoping he was going to do like a balcony situation or in the
Mm-hmm.
room, but
Mm-hmm.
I know he did it at dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and I that was something I worried about
Oh, so
too.
y'all were in on this.
Actually, where was I? I was
This
so.
is new news, by the way.
Oh, you didn't know? I I was on my way. Oh, I was on my way to the Triggers,
Okay. Okay.
and I was on the plane, and he wrote me on Instagram because that's how we communicate. And he
Mm-hmm.
was just like, "I think about proposing to your brother," and I was like, "Are you thinking? Or are you going to?" He's like, "I'm gonna propose to your brother,"
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "You think you're gonna say yes?" In my mind, I'm like, "I hope so."
I don't know.
I don't know, cause you know,
What's your relationship like?
like
Right,
right. I've
right.
I've been around y'all once, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I know he likes you because he hasn't said anything bad or like disclosed stuff. But I was like, he'll say yeah,
Yeah.
and so I checked in to see how he was doing right before, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's what made me call you that morning on your birthday because I
Okay.
knew when it was gonna
Okay.
happen.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. I feel like
I was still
um
gonna call you, but I was like, let me Facetime
yeah.
him.
I feel like when I think about Jamaica, I think about and I'm not some overly rah rah like gay this, gay that. Like that's
hmm
I've never participated in that kind of behavior and I'm not trying to class anyone or by any means, but I like what I like and I like to have a good time. I like books on the beach. I like chilling out by the beach with my partner and not feeling scared or not feeling like I have to look over my shoulder. I 100% and I'm in agreement with countries that are like no, like this is not welcomed here. I 100% respect it. I feel like at the same time, just like you said, like you also have the option to decline it or just say, you know what, I don't want to participate in this. And I feel like that's a good thing to at
Yeah.
least to be able to practice. I also know that I feel like when I was in Jamaica, I just felt compelled to always think about like what's over my shoulder or like what are they thinking? Like, are my shorts too little? Like, are we being too like overly affectionate in person? Like, or in public? And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, part of me is like, bitch, it's your birthday. Go celebrate. Go enjoy you. Go
Yeah.
enjoy your partner. But the other part of me that cares about people, which is so normal and natural for human beings, if you didn't know. But I was like, I'm so considerate of them. Like, I'm so considerate of families and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I got to a point of the trip where I was like, fuck it. And um, that's why I feel like I'm able to say now, if anyone's ever like, "Oh, let's go to a trip to Jamaica," I'm good. I told my husband now that I was like, "I'm good on Jamaica for at least 10 years. Like, I don't have to go back at all."
And I that's so you experienced that in Jamaica. We're in Dubai.
Mm, I hear Dubai's bad.
It is bad as a gay person. If you're going as friends, totally it would be fine. But even as gay people, it's I feel like you go as friends. But as soon as we got to the hotel, of course I didn't book a double bed. And he was like, "Oh, I see you have a king. Do you want me to bring a roller bed?" And I was just like, "Sure." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I was like, "But I have a suite, so he could just sleep on the couch." He was like, "No, we'll bring a roller bed," and they did. Like
Okay. Quickly.
when I got upstairs to that room, like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, it was knocking at the door. It's like,
Um, Alex, tell us a little bit more about you. So I know that you work in tech, but tell us about what you do, your day job.
so currently, I'm a senior business analyst as a lead in the healthcare world.
Hmm.
I recently just got into the public sector, but prior to that, I was always in healthcare doing healthcare implementations of software, so integration. So most of the time, I work in the side of healthcare or any organization that's called EIS, which is simply Enterprise Integration System. So all the applications that have to speak to each other, my application is part of that team because it speaks between HR and payroll. So I have to be able to speak to all those business partners and other business partners, and also I manage a team of 4 FTEs, but then every consultant that works on any project that we do.
FTEs are considered full-time employees.
Oh yeah,
So
my
just
bad.
no, 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 it's okay, it's okay. Um, real quick hot topics because I feel like we were able to touch on it.
Okay.
Our video got interrupted, so this is kind of part two to us trying to mash it in before he catches his flight. Dating, how's dating?
Oh, dating is good. Right now I would say it was good. Now we're on a break. We're working on it. The break is to make sure that I set the tone. Like I set the tone for what I want. It's his time to set the tone for what he wants and make the effort to do more or, exit, but it's open for either way. Like I'm okay if we stay together, I'm okay if we leave because I was intentional the whole time. So
I feel like that's such a joy to be able to experience, to live presently and have that open communication with the other person. Like, hey, here's what may be going on for me, or here's what is going on for me.
yeah.
Um, it's how is this for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is
Is that
hard for him.
hard?
For me or for him?
Both.
For me, I think the only hard part is because I see your potential, but you don't see your own potential, and I can't date off potential anymore.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I feel that. How are you finding happiness?
The way I find happiness is being present and being intentional. Another way is just like doing things that I felt like that was challenging, but really it's something I enjoy, so it's not really challenging. So
Yeah.
like doing my TikToks.
Yeah, I love that. I think the during the message yesterday, he was talking about going to work and not necessarily feeling like work because this is something that he was so passionate
Mm-hmm.
about. And I feel like that's definitely the space that I'm in. Like, I really want to work and do things that I truly enjoy and not just for the sake of doing it for a check.
Yeah.
Granted, checks are good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, there's a level of authenticity around staying true to who you are and staying true to what you want for your life. What are you most excited about for 2025?
I say it again. Debt free.
Debt free. I love
Debt
that.
free.
Break that down.
Um, so my goal is to do it by June, and that's not paying off my car because I don't know if I'm gonna keep my car.
Your Audi SUV, you
Yeah,
still have it?
yeah.
Okay. You
Um,
never drive it. I feel like you're always like Ubering and Lyfting everywhere.
I know, and that's another reason. They've asked to buy my car right out, and I'm like still debating on it. But I want to lease a car because I do like to have that feeling of freedom just to hop over to Canada, drive down to Portland without being like, oh, I got to take a train or I got to catch a flight.
Yeah.
And when I need to go buy something big, I can put it in my car.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's not paying off my car, but it's paying off like credit cards, putting my bank account back like it was. I supported my partner last year, so you know.
Yeah, I love it. I think that there's a lot of things that we can be excited for, but I feel like being debt free can
Oh,
release so much anxiety. I know you talked about before the clip got shut off. I know you talked
being
about
planted.
like being planted, but also like suffering from some anxiety. So
Oh yeah,
like doing the work around, hey, here's how I want to show up intentionally for this year, and here's what I want to feel. Like that's such a huge flex.
yes.
So that's a big congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you feeling about the inauguration?
I'm indifferent. I've always gone into these situations as the individual might not be the individual I chose, or they may have been, but most of their decisions doesn't directly affect me right away. But also, the time that they're in there, like this current person, whatever he does in his next 4 years, it's going to take us 8 or plus more years to correct it because we might not feel it right now. And that's what America really needs to understand. Like, whatever he does now, we won't really feel it until either towards his last year or beginning of the next presidency of someone else.
Well, how would that be the same with like even like deportations?
Deportations was that's executive order. So he can when you write something in executive, you want it to happen right then and right now.
Hmm.
So deportation will probably start. We'll see if
Gotcha.
he write that like we'll see that quickly. Anything that executive order, you'll see more
Yeah, quickly.
fire versus like it has to go through the House and the Senate and
Got
all
you.
that.
You talk about those things. Okay,
Yeah, those
okay.
things.
That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. I feel like we got a lot of good content before the video got shut off, but
Well, it's always
um
round two.
yeah, yeah. Look, it's always round two. Yes, I love that. It seems like I gotta come to Seattle for that. But I feel like I have enjoyed our conversation today, and even though it did get cut off, I feel so sad. But I think that we were able to really talk a lot about joy, about fear, about being authentic and therapy. And there's so many things that happen from a space of trying to be planted and being presently you. And Alex, you are doing a lot of that work. So, as you all know, we live and embrace and breathe on this podcast, living and being authentically you and showing up in the world that feels right for you. And Alex has just been a huge component of that, especially for his life. So, if no one has ever told you or told you today, you are an inspiration to so many. And I'm so blessed and grateful to know you and to have you as my friend.
Yes. Well, I appreciate that, and I feel the same for you. Like when I tell people your age, they be like, I was like, he look old. They were like, no, he just acts very mature for his age. And now you remember, sometimes I was like, how old are you? Because your
Yeah,
age
when we
is so
first
different
met.
from mine. Yes. But I appreciate that. And the same for you. You set the tone for a lot of people. A lot of people, I think you help model the way and you voice it. You let people know where you are, where you stand, even if it may feel uncomfortable. Because sometimes I know, like, you'll tell me, like, I don't want to talk about that right now. And
Mhm.
I'd be like, oh, okay. And I move on.
And we
Because
move on.
I like that because it's like, oh, bitch, I mean, oh, don't go there. Like, let's talk about that later. Or I
Yeah.
just don't want to bring up that baggage. I'm in a
Yeah,
good mood
yeah.
right now. You
Yeah.
know,
No, I understand that. And again, we just am one, I love that we're proud of each other and we also have an accountability relationship to where we hold each other accountable. And I feel like if that is what being friends is about, then I want it and I love it. So, yeah, again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Unpacking Within. We're so delighted to have you. And please, please, please accept my dearest apologies for erasing and just erasing my whole existence off Earth for like the past 7, 8 months. I apologize and it will not happen again. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. But again, thank you for tuning in and we will talk to you all next time. Bye.